Hi everyone, welcome to English Mirror. Today, in this video, I present a short summary of the Shakespearean comedy, The Merchant of Venice. Let's go to the video. Antonio was a rich and prosperous merchant of Venice. His ships were on nearly every sea, and he traded with Portugal, with Mexico, with England, and with India. Although proud of his riches, he was very generous with them and delighted to use them in relieving the wants of his friends, among whom his relation Bassanio held the first place. Bassanio, like many other gay and gallant gentlemen, was reckless and extravagant, and finding that he had not only come to the end of his fortune, but was also unable to pay his creditors, he went to Antonio for further help. To you, Antonio, he said, I owe the most in money and in love, and I have thought of a plan to pay everything I owe if you will but help me. And Bassanio said, in Belmont is a lady richly left, and from all quarters of the globe renowned suitors came to woo her, not only because she is rich, but because she is beautiful and good as well. All my fortunes, said Antonio, are at sea, and so I have no ready money. But luckily my credit is good in Venice, and I'll borrow for you what you need. There was living in Venice at this time a rich moneylender named Shylock. Antonio despised and disliked this man very much, and treated him with the greatest harshness and scorn. He would thrust him like a cur over his threshold and would even spit on him. Shylock submitted to all these indignities with a patient shrug, but deep in his heart he cherished a desire for revenge on the rich, smug merchant. So when Bassanio came to him to ask for a loan of 3,000 ducats to Antonio for 3 months, Shylock was ready to give the money upon one condition. He said, but just for fun, you shall sign a bond in which it shall be agreed that if you do not repay me in 3 months' time, then I shall have the right to a pound of your flesh, to be cut from what part of your body I choose. Thus Bassanio was furnished with the means to go to Belmont, there to woo the lovely Portia. His only comfort now was in hearing of the serious losses which had befallen Antonio, some of whose ships were wrecked. Let him look to his bond, said Shylock. Let him look to his bond. Antonio and Bassanio agreed to the condition and borrowed 3,000 ducats. For he who would win Portia's heart and hand had to guess which of three caskets held her portrait. The caskets were of gold, silver, and lead. The gold one bore this inscription: Who chooseth me shall gain what many men desire. The silver one had this: Who chooseth me shall get as much as he deserves. While on the lead one were these three words: Who chooseth me must give and hazard all he hath. Then at last came Bassanio, and Portia would have delayed him from making his choice from very fear of his choosing wrong. The world is still deceived with ornament, and so no gaudy gold or shining silver for me. I choose the lead casket. Joy be the consequence. And opening it, he found fair Portia's portrait inside, and he turned to her and asked if it were true that she was his. Yes, said Portia, I'm yours, and this house is yours, and with them I give you this ring, from which you must never part. Then suddenly all his happiness was dashed with sorrow, for messengers came from Venice to tell him that Antonio was ruined, and that Shylock demanded from the Duke the fulfillment of the bond, under which he was entitled to a pound of the merchant's flesh. But when her newly made husband had gone, Portia went after him, and arrived in Venice disguised as a lawyer, and with an introduction from a celebrated lawyer, Bellario. When the court met, Bassanio offered Shylock twice the money borrowed, if he would withdraw his claim. It was then that Portia arrived in her disguise, and not even her own husband knew her. Then in noble words she bade Shylock have mercy. This bond gives you no right to Antonio's blood, only to his flesh. If, then, you spill a drop of his blood, all your property will be forfeited to the state. Such is the law. Shylock now grew very much frightened. Give me my 3,000 ducats that I lent him, and let him go. Bassanio would have paid it to him, but said Portia, no, he shall have nothing but his bond. Thus were the tables turned, and no mercy would have been shown to Shylock, had it not been for Antonio. Bassanio, in his gratitude to the clever lawyer, was induced to part with the ring his wife had given him, and with which he had promised never to part. And when on his return to Belmont, he confessed as much to Portia. But at last she told him that it was she who, in the disguise of the lawyer, had saved his friend's life and got the ring from him.